Hi guys, it's Jessa the Hoodoo Honey, Jessa of Artfire and Broomstick, and Jessa of the Real Witches. I just wanted to go over something real quick. Me and my daughter excuse me, I'm trying to get comfortable, had experience this morning. And to this right now, of course, the day's only half over, I can't tell you what we may have avoided or what we may not have avoided. But I do want to tell you about this experience because I think it's something we all get confused about sometimes. Okay, so when you're being spiritual and you're trying to work on yourself and evolve and grow and all that fun shit that we all do, um, a lot of times there's this pressure to push yourself out of comfort zones to do things you wouldn't normally do. Um, uh, you know, there's this belief that you can't grow within your own comfort zone. I disagree with that somewhat. Um, I'm not saying never challenge yourself, but I'm a baby stepper, okay? I like baby steps. I believe you can grow with baby steps. I don't think you need to be absolutely uncomfortable or have bad feelings or a weird gut feeling or push yourself so hard that you lose yourself just for growth and evolution. You know what I mean? Am I making sense? And I messed up this morning. And it was funny because just a few days ago I saw a good friend of mine. She's a therapist and she's very brilliant. And she's right. You can't, you can't totally stay in your comfort zone and never do anything different and expect change. Okay? That doesn't work, you know. But I disagree with having to feel discomfort to grow or change. Not extreme discomfort, anyways. Maybe slight, very tiny, tiny little bit of discomfort. Okay, yeah, sure. Um, but actually, if you are growing and evolving in a way you're meant to, you probably won't feel that uncomfortable. Like you might have a twinge, a little beep of it. But usually, if it's meant for you, if you go back to the secret, inspired action shouldn't necessarily feel like a have to, a chore, a going against something that's telling you this isn't a good idea. Um, and be careful with that. Be careful pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. If it starts to feel like, eh, this doesn't feel right to me, um, you're probably not actually growing in the right direction that you're trying to. You have to use all these signs and signals we feel and our emotions we feel. And, I watched my daughter, because this happened this morning. Both of us had a weird feeling, and it was something we wanted to do. We like to go swimming. And it was a trip to go swimming at a hotel. But something about it just wasn't feeling right for either of us. And she was acting weird about it. I ended up acting really weird about it. And I kind of ignored her first instincts about it until my own kicked in. And it did, nothing went bad, but when we got there, it was all drama. And, well, the first place, the pool wasn't even open. The second place, there was, more drama. So we ended up back at home. And, we tried. I tried to push myself past my comfort zone, get readier way earlier than I would have, and do something spontaneous and things like that. But the point is, something about it had felt wrong that whole time. Growth isn't going, it might be a little anxiety provoking, a little scary to push yourself out of a comfort zone, but inspired action growth should actually feel a little more exciting. You should feel some pride while you're doing it, things like that. If it starts to feel bad and you notice you're feeling like you want to cry, or your stomach's hurting, or you're just acting weird and you can't even explain why you're acting weird, or you go into like a state of a spacey shock, growth really shouldn't always feel like that. That's more like a forced growth. And you don't always need forced growth to grow. You can comfortably, slowly, at your own pace, at your own level, step out of your comfort zone slowly and grow comfortably. I've got to disagree with those that say you can't feel comfortable while you grow. You may not be perfectly comfortable. You are still stepping out of your box. So it might still have that little bit of a discomfort feeling, but it should only be very fleeting and very light. It really shouldn't hang over you. It shouldn't really, make you cry or make you just weird or spaced out or your stomach hurting or anything like that. If that's all happening, you might be going a little too far, okay? Having a little flutters, like you would at your wedding day or something, that's different, okay? That's normal human nervousness. Nervousness is very different than a full-on anxiety attack or an emotional attack, or just not even being able to put what you're feeling into words. If you can't do that, step back. The action that you might be looking at might not actually be growth. It could just be drama. And it could be your body telling you to avoid it because it has nothing to do with growth. Most situations grow us in some way, whether they're good or bad. We do eventually get growth from the situations, but there's easier ways to grow. There just are. There's more comfortable, more positive, more safe, more non-dramatic ways to push yourself out of your box and evolve and, develop new coping skills and things like that and new experiences without drama and bad times. And you can't avoid that. Life is going to give you drama and bad times, but life will do that on its own. You really don't need to help it. It's pretty good at throwing it anyways, so there's no need to add to it, is my point, I guess. Grow, step out of your zones, practice your whatever path you're on, practice whatever feels right to you. But when it stops feeling right, you don't always have to push. That's a different thing than stepping out of your box. If it really feels uncomfortable and it just doesn't feel right, don't think you have to do it to grow. You don't. You can grow a million different ways. There's a million different fertilizers out there for you to grow with. You don't gotta stick to one brand of it. Okay, if that made any sense. There's just a million different ways. So pick the one that, even if it makes you feel just slightly nervous, that's okay. Like I said, a slight fluttering, a slight nervousness is not bad. But if you really start to feel like, this does not feel right, probably a reason for it. And it's probably not meant for you because it's not aligning with you. Things that align with you, 98% of it is going to feel absolutely flowy, smooth, comfortable. It might be, like I said, a moment of the flutters or a little excitement or nervousness, anxiety, things like that. But I'm talking a small, teeny, tiny, little, and that's about it. That's about all you should feel. If you feel anything much more than that, whatever you're trying to shove yourself into is probably not aligned with you yet. Now, it might be at some other point, some other day. It could just be that day. But there is probably a reason for it. Pay attention to that. Always pay attention to that. Doesn't mean it won't be right for you in a week. But if it doesn't feel right that day, don't do it. Just because something isn't aligned to your vibration. So don't shove yourself too hard. And give yourself little pushes, baby steps, little pushes. But the minute something just does not feel good whatsoever, that's not meant for you, okay? It's not. So don't force yourself. That's all. Just a little helpful hint from Tessa the Hoodoo Honey at artfire.com. Or broomstick. Broomstick at artfire.com. I have never said the name of my store right on any video yet, I don't think. Broomstick at artfire.com. Bye, guys.